So when we do this, does this need to be?
You said we have to push the pound button on the side of something.
Okay, but does this have to be passed with it?
Does that sound good?
I don't know. We haven't tried.
We haven't tried it yet. No, I just didn't know if this is.
Hey,
Yeah,
Jonathan,
that
Jonathan.
definitely have to go with it. Okay.
Mailbox?
Okay.
Here we go.
Power? Yeah, I'll be fine. Ooh. There you go. So if everyone wouldn't mind grabbing a seat, we're going to call the meeting to order momentarily. Test? Test, test. That good? If I hold it this way, like a mic? Behave. Everybody a second. We got 2 more down. We're almost there. I don't have to go all teacher yet. All right, so hello and welcome to the 2026 annual meeting for the American Schooner Association. My name is Mary Kay. I am Commodore again, so 1 more year. And huge, almost done. So a huge shout out to Paul. Thank you so much for pulling all of this stuff together for us. Just so everyone is aware, we are live streaming. So Jonathan over here has helped us with the setup. So, you know, anything you say is recorded, so be careful. Remind me of that if I get out of line. Should we start with our first order of business? Are we good? Or yep. So if everyone's take a second. So we're going through until 11 o'clock. Then we'll have a break for lunch. And then we're really excited to have Sarah Armour from Brilliant for our speaker at 12 o'clock. All right.
And just a reminder about the seminar.
Okay, and after we break from our meeting here, we're going to have 2 seminars back at the Hampton Inn down at 6 Hendel. And so we have at 1500, we have our marine electronics with Brian Brousseau, and at 1600, we have solar power on boats with Tom Whitehead. So we're hoping anyone who can will head back over to the Hampton Inn. I think there's also going to be some libations and some snacks as well. So good reason to go. All right, so moving on. So what I'm going to ask is that we keep this part short and sweet. We have time later in the agenda so that we can announce any of the events that we're all working on or any new announcements or news to share. So when we say member introductions, we really mean just introduce yourself and maybe what vessel you're affiliated or what organization you're affiliated with, and then we will have time later in the meeting for more discussion. So that sounds like a good plan, very short and sweet. So my name's Mary Kay. We have the Ardell and the Isabella, and I'm also affiliated with Gloucester Schooner Festival. So shall I pass over to you? Okay, yep.
Paul Gray, I'm new to the Schooner LSR, which I picked up about a year ago. I'm North Philadelphia, right now in North Philadelphia.
I'm Bethany McNally Davis. This is Calypso and Margaret and Mary. We have the Schooner Alert out of Bailey Island, Maine, and we're happy to be here.
And I'm Barry. Hi, I'm Tom Whitehead. I'm from Pittsburgh, Maine, and I took over the stewardship of the schooner Annie in 2015. That was built and sailed by Arden Scott for many years. Some of you may have known Arden. And I'm also here with our sword cast.
Sean Flynn, I'm working on quite a few careers, but with World Ocean School now and Sullivan.
John King, also known as Captain Outlandish. I own the schooner Edward D. Boynton, and I work for the Portland Schooner Company, drive the schooner Windmead out of Portland.
Morning, Mike McManus. I sail with schooner Eileen Marie and Gail out of Seven Hill Yacht Club.
Peter Gentry, out of Baltimore, Maryland. I work with the Mid-Atlantic chapter of the ASA. We're in the middle of restoring an old German naval schooner, Panther. Hope to get it done by the end of the year. It looks very hopeful. Keeping our fingers crossed on it.
Paul Walker, I have the Arkansas Star. My master is right where I'm at.
Fairway with the schooner Deutschland, I'm in New Jersey. I'm also part of the Great Eastern. Howard Hops from Sterling, Connecticut, Kentucky, the former owners of the schooner Crusader, originally the Winfield Lines.
Carol Brown, Massachusetts, Savannah, WGL, and Block. Alex Agnew, custodian, schooner Sarah Jane, and hopefully Martha Seaburn.
I'm also director of Sailing Ships Maine. I'm David Stinson, boat builder, designer, design and built a number of schooners, and welcome to come talk to me at lunchtime about cable of their various designs. I also help maintain boats with Alex for Sailing Ships.
My name is John Henderson from North Jersey. I've known Paul Gray for quite a long time. I was attracted to the presentation, also meeting everybody. One of our former Sea Scouts worked on Brilliant last winter, and so with this presentation, I'm really interested in seeing the work out, what the team did up there.
David Caller, Schooner Renegade, which anybody knows anybody who wants to buy a scooter out of Connecticut.
Special price today. Only today, folks.
And I'm Diane Chakowski with David Collins.
I'm Cyrus Brent, chair of the Long Beach Schooner Festival. Oh, Cyrus isn't here. give up, so apparently I'm with the Gloucester Schooner Festival. We do not have a schooner anymore. We've been an owner of 3 of them, but we finally learned our lesson about a lobster boat. This is my husband Stan Collins.
I'm hoping it's seldom night food.
Stan Collins, Daisy's husband, also former partner, skipper of Redbird, so 2 years ago now, frigate bird, which is awesome.
My name's Hank Jelinek, I'm a guest of John, and I'd like to inform everyone, I attained the rank of Bill's Rat First Class on my wife's sloop. Very proud of it.
Hi, my name's Phil Walker with Cuba Wooden Boat Works. I own the schooner Whisper. I'm also helping these great folks rebuild the schooner boats. So, thank you.
I'm actually Brenda Lightman, part of the Schooner Lotus. I'm Spruce Point, New York, and Bill, I'm glad he's here today to hear everything, so that's good. So anyway, I'm glad we're here, so. Nell Gardner, I'm also involved with the Lotus, Schooner Lotus, and, oh, no, I'm not.
Carl, be back again, friends of the Schooner Lotus group here, and yeah, just excited to find out Bill's here today, our boat builder, and just excited to be out here to see everybody here today, so thanks.
Your name,
Sarah.
I guess I'll go. I'm Steve Prairie, Jamestown, Rhode Island, and the Herreshoff Schooner Narwhal owns me.
I'm Carl Fry, here's a friend of David Simpson. I've had the great good fortune to have a couple of schooners design and built by David.
Mike DeCoster, schooner addict, and hanger on.
Hartshorn had a little crush on Pinky, Tom's stuff. Simon Hill Yacht Club too.
Yes.
I'm Emily Pierce. I'm the executive director of Schooner Adventure at the Gloucester Mass. I am not the captain, but I work very closely with the captain and do the land other side of
Good morning, I'm Steve Giltham, the executive director for Tall Ships America, from Turner, Rhode Island, and Virginia. Scott Gifford, I'm the director at the shipyard here at Mystic Seaport. I also own a small Jack Wilbur built.
Jim O'Mara, and I have a Dutch arrangement, my friend is.
From Baltimore, and got involved since 2007 with Chesapeake Bay Schooner Race and Fells Point Yacht Club, which anybody wants to join from down there, like 5 people. But I love the schooners. I've had the opportunity to sail on a couple, so it's good.
I'm Darlene Alexander, I'm one of the 5. And my only other current occupation is treasurer for the Mid-Atlantic chapter.
Hi, I'm Paul Shaw.
I'm Philip Slipknot, the current owners.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for coming. We are short a couple today due to horrible weather forecasts and also extreme cold. So really glad that everyone was able to brave that and who could show up. Hopefully they're joining us on live stream. It's also really great to see a couple of new faces and hopefully I'll get to meet some of you that I haven't had a chance to meet before. So welcome if this is your first. So moving right along, for the first year, we on the board had spent a couple of days trying to come up with a list for in memoriam, and either fortunately or unfortunately, we were not able to establish any one that we knew that should be included in this list. So what we were going to ask is that if anyone in the crowd does know anyone that we would like to recognize for a brief moment of silence in our in memoriam today, that would be great.
My friend Skip Ross, who was part of the founding of the nonprofit for Schooner Adventure and who helped sail it down from Portland to Gloucester.
Skip Ross. And anyone else? Skip Ross, one of the group that helped bring adventure back to Gloucester. Anyone else that we have for our in memoriam? You have one?
Finbar Gettleman, who was the captain of the schooner Wolf and the admiral of the Conch Republic Navy, passed away this last year down in Key West. He is being replaced, of course, by Seth Salzman now, and with the When and If actually acting as the flagship of the Conch Republic Navy.
In the back? I'll come up. I am. Glad you made it.
Hey, thanks. Sorry I was late. Yeah. Also, Adventures had a bit of a sad year. Tim Perkins has passed away as well, who was very instrumental in keeping her literally afloat, much like Skip. And we're very grateful for both of them, and we'll miss them.
I feel like a talk show host. I'm sorry. I'm not very good at it.
Just wanted to mention Dave Stickney passed away, owner of Heart's Desire, most recent owner of Heart's Desire. And also, I hope you all can keep the families connected with the Lily Jean fishing vessel out of Gloucester in your hearts and prayers.
We also lost a fisherman out of Stonington, Connecticut as well this week. Thomas William. All right, and so I'm moving on. We had attempted to send out the minutes early. That didn't go as well as planned. We do have printed copies of the minutes from last year's meeting if anybody needs them up here. So if you want to take a second and peruse, and then we'll take a vote to accept. Thank you. Hey, Barry, want a motion? I need a motion. Motion to move the minutes. Do I have a second? All right, so there is a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the 2025 American Schooner Association annual meeting. All in favor? All right, any opposed? All right, so moved. Moving on. For those of you who haven't, we've all introduced ourselves. So our board is here today. Unfortunately, we have a couple of members who were not able to make it because of the weather. So a quick rundown. You've got me. I'm Commodore Mary Kay. We have over here Peter Gentry, who is the rear Commodore and is very excited to step forward very soon. We have Perry Davis, if you could stand up and give everyone a wave. We've got Paul Gray, who is wearing multiple hats, and we are so grateful for. Thank you, Paul. And then Duncan was not able to be here today. Neither was John, Bill. Did I see Eric? No, I didn't. I thought I saw him sneak in. And we do have Alex. Where is Alex? There you are in the back. All right. So we also want to thank members of our Educational Grant Committee, Susan Soden, who was not able to be here today, Nan, who wasn't able to be here today, and Greg, I don't think I've met, not here today. And our social media, Rayford, Carolyn, and Jonathan over here, who is working to bring us back out of the Stone Age. He got us live streaming at our meeting, our GAM last night, and he is helping us with all the tech to live stream today. So if anyone has any updates or anything they need to share online, you can reach out to us, and Jonathan will help us get it out there. All right, and now I'm going to turn it over to the adult in the room, Paul, for the secretary's report.
You have to excuse us for it. We have to be a little bit more careful about the sound this year because it is live streaming.
So that's why we're walking around with a microphone that actually doesn't work. The two microphones here are taped to this microphone, so we have something to hold so Jonathan can pick up the sound for live stream. So this is a prop. So we'll talk about the secretary's reports, which are generally pretty boring, which I apologize for, but they're kind of a necessary evil. Better? All right, here's our current membership breakouts. Unfortunately, the numbers are right over top of where that power thing is. But that's kind of our breakout. We have current members of anybody who's renewed for this year and or a complimentary membership. Does anybody know if they've renewed or not this year? If you don't know if you've renewed, you probably haven't. So after the break, Michael will be up here. Michael Tucasso will be up here. He can renew anybody today if they want. A couple of things, when we look at the pending renewals, these are people who were members last year who have not yet renewed this year. So at the moment, we have 71 people who have not renewed. So now that the meeting is over and I have some time to look at other things, I'm going to be reaching out to a bunch of those folks. Now, typically, we're not going to get most of them back in. If you look at from 2025, at this point last year, we had 61 people who had not renewed. This year, we still have 41 who have not renewed. So we have 41 people who did not renew from last year's renewals. And if you go back another year, we had 22 people last year who still didn't renew, and we still have 13 people from 2 years ago who didn't renew. So we do typically lose members every year, which is part of our challenge. We've got to figure out how to do a better job of retaining membership. So these are some of the things we're trying to figure out how to do better. We've had some sessions amongst the Board of Governors trying to figure out, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. We've got 65 new members in this year, which I think is an all-time record for probably the last 20 years of new members. And for reason I can't quite understand there we go. My remote control wasn't working. Here's the breakout. Mostly individual, next family, complementary nonprofit, corporate sponsor, and corporate. So that's kind of the breakout of all the memberships. Any questions about what any of those are or anything? So we talk about membership development. Last year, we started going back to the Wooden Boat Show in Mystic, and we picked up new members last year. And we were back again this year, and we picked up 14 members this year. This year, for the first time, we were at the Sultana Downrigging Festival, and we picked up 30 members this year, primarily because that guy, Peter, sitting over in the corner of the table over there. He and his wife, Kate, did a phenomenal job of corralling people in. We're being pretty aggressive, I guess, is one way with memberships. At both of these events, we were giving away mugs and hats to all new members. So we have a category of members who didn't want to give us their contact information. They just wanted the hat and the mug. So we did selling some hats and mugs. So our approach going forward is to partner into existing things, existing events. So for example, we're talking to the folks at Gloucester about how can we be more involved with Gloucester. We're talking to the guys at Gannon and Benjamin about their festival they do in late summer, early fall. We will be talking to the folks of the Great Chesapeake Bay Schooner Race about having a presence in Norfolk. So we're looking at what other events, and I'll just ask the question, are there other events people know of that we should be looking at being at, having a booth, a table, or something set up? So is anybody off the top of their head, obviously, if you think about one, just drop me an email, but anything obvious that we're missing here that we should be more involved with? Yeah.
Throw the ad, 12 ships coming to the United States this year. Going to New York City for the 4th of July, and they'll be up in Boston between July 11th and 16th.
So we got to figure out how we might be able to get more involved with some of that stuff. Part of our problem, as you can imagine, we are a 100% volunteer organization. So, it's not like we have staff that can do things. So these are some of our challenges. So I really hadn't thought about that too much. That's something maybe we can talk about a little bit. So Anything else? Yes, Tom.
Yeah, but Camden, Maine has a schooner festival every year.
Yeah, yeah. I know there's several of them up in Maine that we should probably be at. Yeah. David?
There's the Connecticut Sea Music Festival in Essex, and there's the Portsmouth Sea Music Festival in Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
New Hampshire, okay.
Both of those.
Yeah, David, after the meeting, can you remind me of what these are so I can write them down? One of my jobs as secretary is to record what happens at the meeting, but I'm speaking most of the meeting, so I don't tend to record anything. So I keep begging for somebody to volunteer to take the minutes, and somebody did last year, but I don't remember who it was. So I never got the minutes from last year, so we had to reconstruct them a bit this year. So, so David, if you would remind me of a couple of those things, and Tom, if you would remind me a couple as well. Barry.
Say the Blue Bay Harbor Windjammer Festival they have is worth mentioning as well.
So we really need to look at all that main stuff in terms of the festivals. Yes. That's true. It is recording. So it may be recording. So we'll find out. It's recording me. Whether it's picking up anything from the floor is another whole question. It's not. Jonathan just told me nothing you've said has been picked up, so don't worry about it. You're all in the clear. So again, this is what we're trying to do forward, is partnering with existing events and figure out how we can become part of those events. So now we switch to the treasurer's report, and this is the real fun stuff. So this is our total revenues, about 7,000 and change total revenues last year. Our total expenses were 9,000 and change. So net operating loss of a little over $2,000. And we had an educational fund expense this year, which I'll talk a little bit more detail, of $2,700. So we actually had a close to a $5,000 net loss, operating loss this year. And there's a number of reasons for that, which I'll go over in a second. Here's the breakout. Our annual dues were about the same as last year. We made less in interest. I mean, 50 cents off. I mean, that's catastrophic right there. But and our merchandise sales were significantly off this year. So that's why our revenues was down. Some of our big issues, this is our total expense breakout. I'm spending no time on this slide whatsoever because you can't read it and it's not worth worrying about it. So I've actually broken it out in kind of the big pieces. So the annual meeting is our biggest single cost to the organization. Historically, we basically have asked people to pay for lunch. But after COVID, we opted not to ask anybody to pay for lunch because we wanted to get the membership back here in the meetings. As a result, what used to be kind of a break-even event now costs the organization, if you look at just it's a couple of $1,000s to hold the event. So we are probably going to look at least to recoup some of the money, so we may end up charging something for lunch next year. We haven't decided quite yet. Again, because this is, the unfortunate thing is that the whole membership ends up paying for the people who come to this meeting, which is great. But, you know, again, we really need to figure out how to get the net cost of the meeting down a little bit. So that's been an issue. The next one is the educational grants. Our educational grant donations have almost disappeared. We're not getting any more. So what happens when we give out the grants, we use the donation funds first. And then basically whatever is not covered by donation funds, because those are the donations, we make up by our cost. It becomes an expense to the organization. So this year, which we'll go into detail, we ended up giving away more grant money than we had funding for grant money. So we actually cost the organization a significant amount of money. Again, there's a lot of things going on. The other part is insurance. This organization was founded in '73, and we finally got insurance last year. So, you know, attending the wooden boat show, historically, we could get a rider and get on Mystic Seaport's policy. They stopped doing that. So we had to get our own liability insurance, which we wanted to get anyway. So we had another $1,000 of expense that we've never had before in terms of just liability insurance type stuff. So it all adds up. And then we have our complete online management system that handles all the membership stuff, the stuff you log into and everything. That price keeps going up and up and up. It was not an unreasonable price when we started using it a few years ago, but every year it's been going up significantly. So we're we're really struggling with this one because this has made all of our lives so much easier in terms of managing the membership and all the renewals and everything, but it's a lot of money. So we have to look at possible alternatives. I've already looked at some alternatives and they're more expensive than what we have. So, we're still struggling with this a little bit in terms of where we go with there. So if you look at those, those four things, that's 75% of the cost of running the whole organization. So, and all of which, we have to look at and figure out. We still have plenty of cash, which you'll see in a moment. Here's our balance sheet. We've got about $12,000 in cash at this point. So there's not an imminent disaster pending. We just have to look at how we make this, sustainable, basically, is what it comes down to. So here's what we've got, about $16,000 in assets, a good chunk, and we still have a good chunk in inventory. That's all the stuff on the stage. All the rest is just kind of normal stuff. Current liabilities, there's a couple of things on there. MAC dues, we collect the Mid-Atlantic chapter dues with the renewals. I actually just gave Darlene a check today to cover the $315 we owed her from last year, so she's got that. The prepaid dues are actually dues that I received before the end of last year for this year. So instead of showing up as revenue, it shows up as a liability on us for this year. Now, 2026, it's revenue. It's just an accounting thing that I do. So at the end of the day, is we owed people like $96 of unpaid reimbursements. Bill Carton shipped a whole bunch of stuff out, and I owe him shipping money. So we don't really owe anybody anything, is what it comes down to. So that's any questions at all on any of the treasury stuff. There's not a lot to it. There's not a lot, that we do spend money on. Again, we'll talk a little bit more about the grant fund stuff in a moment. Quartermasters, this is essentially what we've sold. Normally Bill Carton would be doing this, but he's not here today, so I'm doing it too. We saw the $1,000 worth of stuff. It's our cost of goods sold was $483. I don't really think anybody cares at how many of what. This is our total inventory. We've got $2,600 worth of stuff. This is what we have. I don't think anybody really wants to go in detail on that. If you do, let me know, and I'll show you afterwards. All of this is posted online, by the way. By the end of the day today or tomorrow, I will have this whole presentation on the association website for anybody who wants to go in and look at it. If you're completely masochistic and have absolutely nothing else to do in life, you can certainly go on and look at it. The online store is still being hosted by David and Brenda Hatterley, who are Florida folks who have been living in San Francisco Bay for quite a few years on their schooner. They very graciously help us out with this. And it's schoonerchandlery.com. It's a pretty cool site. They have a lot of different stuff on there. All right, so we'll talk about the Educational Grant Committee. Going into 2025, we had funds available of $2,900. Half of that, the way the grant funding is structured, half of our operating income gets earmarked for the grants. Obviously, last year we didn't have any operating income, so we couldn't put any money in. So we had a $2,700 balance forward from the previous year, no operating income, and those are the donations we got last year for the educational fund. So we ended up awarding $3,000 grants, one to the Chesapeake Bay Schooner Race, one to Living Classrooms for a special program they had for Digital Harbor High School, and one for the folks up in Sodus Bay for their shipwreck weekend, which actually sounded like it was a really cool thing that I was actually planning on going to and just couldn't actually go to it. So that's where the money went. So in 2026, technically we have no money for grants this year because we gave out more than we had last year. We have no carrier, we have no operating income, and we've had no donations. So right now, technically we have no money for grants. The Board of Governors is going to look at options of what we want to do this year in our next meeting, which will be in a couple of weeks. So, we're still figuring out what to do. We might still do some grants, but it'll be at a reduced level. So we'll be talking about them on the board, and we'll let you know what's going on with that. All right, Mary Kay, do you want to talk about some of this other stuff? You want me to keep going? I don't care. What's that? Oh, okay, that's fine. No, that's fine. Duncan would normally be here talking about his Sea Stories podcast. He does them pretty much every month. We've got up to 35 of them that are recorded. If you haven't looked at them, they're very cool. Duncan does a really good job with these, and he's found some very, very interesting folks to be in. So we have 35 of them on our YouTube channel. You can also get to them through the our website. Either way, very cool stuff. Everything from corrections on a magnetic compass to the the War of 1812 and everything in between. Very, very cool stuff. It's worth just looking down at.
62 videos.
Okay, well that's on one of the next screens. I don't know if has anybody actually sat in on any of Duncan's? Okay, good. So I think everybody will agree they're actually really well done. Duncan does a great job with them. Wing and Wing. I think everybody knows that there hasn't been any coming out on any kind of regular schedule, primarily due to staffing. We've gone through a couple of sets of people. Susan Soden worked on it for years, and she just ran out of time. Peter Thompson picked up on it a couple of years ago. He ran out of time, and he's got some health issues going on. So at the moment, I am acting editor of the Wing and Wing, unfortunately, among my other things. Fortunately, I actually really enjoy this. I spent 1/3 of my life in graphic arts. So for me to do this kind of stuff is fun. It's not like real work. I'm working on a new issue, which will come out right after the Mid-Atlantic Chapters meeting, which Peter will talk about a little bit later on today. I already have the bulk of the meeting. David is going to give me an article, yes, David, about the stuff you'll see up here, a couple of schooners he's been designing. So we will have a full article. I have another article from Barnacle Bill Hamilton about the Delaware Bay oyster fishery. So we have an issue almost intact. I'm just waiting for an article about today's meeting that I will put together and the Mid-Atlantic meeting. And we're actually going to publish the minutes of this meeting right after this meeting instead of waiting a year later. We do need editorial content on an ongoing basis. We're trying to make this more about what the membership is up to as opposed to what else is going on in the world. So if you have an interesting trip you did, if you're, doing work on your boat, I have a column I want to put together called Boats in Progress. So if you're working on your boat, whatever it is, whatever you're doing, I would like to know about it. We can get some stuff with pictures out there. The first article will be about my boat Elisara that I inherited from another member. I bought it for $1 and was too expensive. I've been removing a lot of rotten core and plywood over the last year and a half and fiberglassing over your head and all that kind of fun stuff. But it's coming along. I will be sailing this summer. The interior will not look nice at all, but the exterior bright work is all redone. So that's all good. That's all good. So I'll be writing the first article of Boat in Progress. So if you got stuff, everybody's working. I mean, almost everybody I know is working on their boat. It's kind of a fact of life. So, if you know somebody who's got a boat they're working on, I know of at least 6 people who have boats in their backyard that they're working on. So I'm going to call all those people, and they're all happen to be relatively close to me, and find out what they're doing and take some pictures and that kind of stuff. So, but anything, pictures are great. So whatever you can think of, send to me. At either ptgray@amschooner.net or secretary@amschooner.net or treasurer@amschooner.net or editor@amschooner.net. Doesn't matter. It'll all come to me. Schooner Registry. I think everybody's aware this is out there. Has anybody actually ever looked at this? Okay. So we have a database of approximately 550 vessels. They're either US or Canadian. We've run into a problem. We used to be able to get an update from the National Vessel Documentation Center. We no longer can get that. Somebody said, well, this is too private. I'm like, well, you give it out forever. Now it's too private. So we have no way to automatically update registered vessels. We've always had a problem with private vessels, but we used to be able to get the registered vessels updated. So we have a challenge now, just how do we maintain this 550 vessels? Jonathan's been helping me out with this over the last couple of years. Again, it's a staffing issue. We have not really had the time to work on this very much the last couple of years. If anybody would like to get involved in this, it's really just a question of researching who owns what boats. Oh, I've heard a boat was sailed. Who owns it now? You know, when I hear today about Jonathan's got his boat and, you know, you've got Annie, and I'm like, okay, so, you know, we need to figure out how to get that information to us so we can update the registry information. The boats are all there. The specs are all there. All the information about the boats are there. It's the ownership that's the challenge, and finding new boats as they come along. So, you know, this is something we just need some help with if we're going to keep, I mean, it's going to get static very quickly. Again, the boats are all there, so there's no question about the valid for the boat standpoint. Just the ownership is the problem.
Check your own listing.
Yes. Mary Kay, you going to pick up this one?
Sure. Oh, sorry. I forgot he was on a leash. All right, there we go. So we have been working to kind of drag ourselves out of, you know, all print and paper and telephone, and we're kind of fits and starts on it. So we're really grateful. Jonathan and Paul have been working on the YouTube channel. So any content, any ideas you have, as we said, we've got about 62 videos up there now. We're live streaming this. We did a really cool live stream last night of some of the music that was being played. We're always looking for volunteers to help with any of this. Rayford and Carolyn have been working on our Facebook and our Instagram. Also fits and starts, you know how the season goes. Sometimes it's way better in the fall and the winter, and then summer we're also busy that it kind of disappears. Sometimes fall and winter we have zero content because nothing's happening because it's not our season up here anyway in the north. So we're looking for a couple of volunteers who might want to help round out that committee to help with some of our social media. So if you have any interest, email any of the 40 email addresses that Paul has. You can also reach out to me, which is just one Commodore. And we'd love some help and some ideas of getting what might be more interesting to the membership generally. And any announcements for events that you have, any announcements of changes you have, anyone you know gets a new schooner, let us know. We're always looking for content. So thank you so much for that. Moving on, we're going to move on to our chapter reports. We're going to start with our Mid-Atlantic chapter. We've got Paul Gentry here, who is running our Mid-Atlantic chapter. So here you go.
Great, thank you very much. I'll go through a few stats, but one of the things about the Mid-Atlantic chapter is the fact that we really cover the Chesapeake Bay area. And also, you know, if you consider Mid-Atlantic, you know, Pennsylvania, you know, New Jersey, you know, we've got members who are from Virginia, and a lot of boats, even up from way up north, you all come down through the Bay area sometimes. Maybe it's for the Chesapeake Bay race. Maybe you all are going south, you know, for the winter time. One of the things we'd really like to work on would be if people are bringing their boats south, please let us know, because, you know, we'll hear after the fact that somebody transited the Chesapeake Bay and we didn't even know they were on the Chesapeake Bay. You know, somehow, you know, y'all slipped through, and we'd love to have the opportunity to get together with you all and host you, and, you know, really show you a good time when you're in our area. Currently, we have 35 members, and with the new paid members, you know, our membership is probably going to be up around 44 members in the Mid-Atlantic area. The Treasury, Darlene, is doing a fabulous job. You know, with the monies that Paul was kind enough to bring over to us today, our Treasury is pretty sound. We've got about $2,200 which is really nice and strong. And that enables us to try and put on different events and support, programs that are going on in the area. We have a number of projects that we're trying to do. We want to reinstitute a large schooner rendezvous. Historically, there's been one that has gone off in Cambridge. The Richardson Maritime Museum has indicated it's under new directorship, has indicated that they have a great interest, perhaps in late 26 or into 27, of trying to get a schooner rendezvous going there again, with them being a primary player in that role. And they're looking to us to try and help them figure out how to make it work well, which is very exciting. We're thrilled to death with that. One of the other things, and I think it's something that's an issue pretty much throughout, if you want to call it an industry or the recreation, is the idea of gaining crew. Getting crew that is able to help you out in a pinch or whatever. And one of the things we've done is we've reached out to the Veterans Administration. A number of different people. We've worked with Wounded Warrior in regards to physically challenged warriors. Typically, those events wind up culminating in a day out on the water, which is a fabulous opportunity. But we've also broadened our look to try and find recently separated veterans who are physically able and might be interested in finding some new pursuit after they're being separated from service. And pretty much every state has a number of what they call vet centers. The Veterans Administration has been very receptive to the idea. For instance, the state of Maryland, as small as the state is, actually has 5 different vet centers. I know, and Virginia has quite a few. Pennsylvania has a number of them also. So we're hoping to be able to tie into that and introduce as a recreational pursuit for newly separated military members, someplace where they may be able to hang their hat once they've gotten out of a very structured environment in the military. So I'd recommend you all may want to do similar outreach to the VA regional areas and these vet centers and check it out. So far we'll definitely keep you all posted as to how it develops for us. Our spring meeting is coming up in March 7th. It's a Saturday. And we like to move our meetings around so that everybody in the organization doesn't have to quite drive as far. So the last couple of years, we've been up in Havre de Grace, Maryland, which is up at the northern end. This year, we're going to be at historic London Town and Gardens, which is in Edgewater, Maryland, which is just south of Annapolis. And that'll help some of the folks from southern Maryland being able to come up. We were able to get Andrew Waters from Quantum Sales has made a commitment to come in as a speaker. And he's a gentleman from the UK, very experienced, over 30 years professional sailing, has over 100,000 blue water, nautical miles under his keel. And he's going to be sharing a lot of, changes that are happening in the industry, as well as trends on sail lofts. So I think it could wind up being a very interesting situation there. So that'll be March 7th. It'll start at 10 o'clock, probably run to about 12. And then we'll after we adjourn, there's a little restaurant on the South River called Coconut Joe's. And they're very excited about the possibility of anybody who has the time to come on in and do lunch with us, there. Hopefully you all will be able to join us. We're also, excited, for the Great Chesapeake Bay Schooner Race. I really can't speak to it normally. Duncan would speak to it, but that'll be coming up in the fall. And, with both having a virtual as well as the real race, we've got 2 different, ways that people can actually submit their vessels. On the virtual basis, the race is, your vessel does get handicapped, and you can wind up, actually participate even though your vessel isn't in the water nor in the area. So I'd recommend any of you all from other states who might want to participate. I think it'd be a really great way to kind of link different areas, to see, maybe New England could, really trounce, some of these bay boats. It would be very interesting. It certainly would be, love to have more participation in that. So that's about all I've got. So, but thank you all. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to talk with me after the meeting.
Thank you as always, Peter. And then Carrie, you got Gulf of Maine?
I haven't prepared anything. However, the Gulf of Maine, things happened. We every year we have the largest commercial sailing fleet in the world, I believe, up in Penobscot Bay, where they do a Penobscot Bay schooner race. There's all sorts of events that happen up there, and then in June there's the Booth Bay Windjammer Festival, which is a lot of fun, and it's one of the few things that we do, and that's when is that? Towards the end of June, last week of June, and let's see. In the Gulf of Maine, the water is always cold, even in the summer. And the rocks are big, and the tides are large, and it's foggy sometimes. And it's still, I would consider it probably the second best cruising ground in the world. And the last thing that I can think of that happens to Gulf of Maine wise is the Gloucester Schooner Festival, which has made Labor Day weekend into my favorite holiday of the year, even beating Groundhog's Day and Christmas. And did I just breathe on that too hard? Well, not really. But if somebody wants to help put on the Gaffers race, we're happy to do that too. We just been busy. That's pretty much all I have to say about that.
Really not as charming as Oprah, but trying. Next, we have a special guest today. This is Stu Copen from Tall Ships America. So we're grateful to have you here. And so I'd like to warm welcome and give you an opportunity to tell us a little bit more about what you guys are up to and fill us in on a really big year, I think.
Sure. Well, thank you. I don't have anything prepared, but I will do my best to be brief, but also hopefully impactful. So again, my name is Stu Gilfillan. I came on as the executive director for Tall Ships America in August of 2024. Came over from US sailing, so spent about 14 years there doing education. So that's really my background. This past year, we spent a lot of time in the Great Lakes doing our Tall Ships Challenges, both on both sides of the border, we had some phenomenal ports that we went to. Duluth had the world's largest rubber duck as well. Some of you may be familiar with that. And a giant tower where we had folks from the US diving team come in and dive from 7 or 8 stories up, and perfectly happy to let them do that rather than me. But for 2026, it was actually brought up that there are some events that are going to be happening in various ports throughout the US. As part of the Sail 250th group, which we're not directly connected with. They'll be in New Orleans, Norfolk, Baltimore, New York, and then Boston. And we are actually an educational partner in Boston, so we'd love to connect with you about how we can have you be part of what we're doing. I will say in Boston, what we're looking to do is put together an educational pavilion with the support from the folks at Sail Boston, which will provide opportunities to not only engage mostly with youth, but also expose adults to the amazing world of tall ships and schooners, and then also connect them to all the ships that are going to be at the event. So we would love to have you as a partner at that space. New York, we're working with ships, but we're not directly connected with the ports. And actually the one port that's sort of notable in its absence in that whole track is Philly, and it's just because their waterfront is still in the process of being worked on. Separately, from a Tall Ships America standpoint, we really have three big areas that we're focusing on for 2026. One is workforce development and growth. We're looking at how do we provide resources and opportunities to help address not only the need in our own community, but in others with strategic partners. So we've been in discussions with groups like American Boat and Yacht Council, Safe Harbors, Rhode Island Marine Trades Associations, which are closer to home, trying to provide opportunities to get more people into the community. We're also looking at ways we can raise awareness. We have, just as a microcosm of that, our annual conference is coming up in Chula Vista, California in about a week. February 8th to 11th. I'm not expecting anybody to hop on a plane, but there will be some areas that we will probably live stream speakers or our own annual meeting. So stay tuned for that. But we have a session within that from one of our ships, Seamester, from down in Florida, and they brought in an influencer who was a college student who knew really nothing about what they were doing. They exchanged it for time on board. And the session they have, I think it's to the effect of, I have an influencer, but I don't have Instagram, something like that. And so they're going to be talking about their experiences of how do you connect with this whole market. So I think there is something within that. We are also looking at how we can connect with audiences we haven't connected before. So your comment about working with veterans, there's a group called Warrior Sailing that we've reached out to, and they kind of bridge the gap a lot of times with like U.S. Sailing's Safety at Sea program. So if there's an interest, we feel like there's an opportunity. So again, looking at interest, looking at workforce. And the third one really is we're trying to find more ways to connect with yacht clubs and community sailing centers. That was my background and where I came from. And so we feel like there's a huge opportunity there. And I really appreciate the opportunity to be here today and to speak. Look forward to getting to know all of you a little bit more and hopefully collaborate. So thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us and for a really cool update of a lot of fun stuff coming up. So now is time for our other event reports. If you have an event, put your hand up and I'll keep it brief. I know Daisy's here for Schooner Festival, so why don't we lead off with you? Here. Do you want? Short and sweet.
Thank you. Yes. Oh, so she said, keep it clean. We're live streaming. So I've always wanted to be an influencer. And now that I'm no longer chair of the Gloucester Schooner Festival, I'd like to become an influencer. I wish I could have influenced Cyrus to come down from New Hampshire today, but it was -10 where he was and the car wouldn't start. But anyway, we are having the Gloucester Schooner Festival. As always, it'll be the 42nd year. And as I mentioned earlier that Dave Stickney passed away, he's one of the people who was actually at year one in 1985. And that was a great chance to get to know him. So we have a lot of boats already committed to coming. You'll be hearing from us soon. We start meetings on Monday, a perfect day, Groundhog Day, the best holiday of the year. There's only 6 more weeks of supposedly winter. Anyway, we will look forward to hearing from all of you who want to join us. If you've never been before, please reach out, and you easily can find us at the Maritime Gloucester website. That is our host organization, and the Schooner Festival is very happy to be getting started on this year. We're going to make a big deal out of our wonderful neighbor at the pier, Schooner Adventure, at 100 years old, and so that's going to be wonderful. Pardon me? Oh, sorry. Well, I used to be the president of Adventure, so I take it seriously. She was built in my hometown about 1 year after my father was launched, 1926. So that's going to be a great year, plus the 250th anniversary of the good old USA. So it's going to be a great year for Gloucester and the Schooner Festival, Labor Day weekend. Woo!
Please. So all of our usual suspects who do Chesapeake Bay aren't here. Is there anyone? No. Who's Chesapeake Bay? Yeah, that's what happens when there's a giant storm coming up. When is it? Anyone know the dates? October 14th. See, we had someone who should have taken the mic from me. All right, so October 14th, Great Chesapeake Bay Schooner Race, and they do a great job plugging it, so I'm sure you'll be able to find it someplace else. Does anyone else have any events or announcements that they wanted to make on the floor? Sure. Yep.
Schooner race. They do the virtual race every year now. What I want to mention about the virtual race, since so many people here are a long way from the Chesapeake Bay, and it doesn't seem like you can be involved, the virtual race is something any organization can be involved in. And if you ever wanted to try and beat Pride of Baltimore or the Schooner Virginia, this is your chance. But you can raise money for your organization by doing this. You get people to donate to you against them. Bragging rights are whoever raises the most money for their organization. So it's a great way to participate and maybe win Great Chesapeake Bay Schooner Race.
All right, any other new business open to the floor? Hey, Emily, you said you had an announcement. I'll just make it awkward, it's fine.
No, I love it when it's awkward. It's good. Hello again. My thanks to Daisy for being the introduction to this. But Schooner Adventure is turning 100 years old in September, which is wild. Yes. And I owe a great deal of thanks to many of the people in this room, as we mentioned, Skip and Tim in particular, may they rest in peace. But we're celebrating this over the next 2 years, largely because I joined the organization last year and I didn't have enough time to do everything this year. But what we're going to do for 2026 is 4 main pinnacle events, which will be our annual gala in May. We're participating in Sail New York and Sail Boston. Sail Boston
Place is not an igloo today. He came over early yesterday, something to get the heat started last night. So if anybody remembers how horrible it was here 2 years ago, we have Peter to thank that I didn't need the 17 layers I'm wearing. So that's just an example of how thoughtful of the group that you are.
And Peter also took care of the coffee and donuts today because John Edgington isn't here today. So thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Are we almost there? All right, so just before we break for lunch and the business part of this meeting, just quick reminders: 1500 Marine Electronics by Brian Brousseau, 1600 use of solar for boat electrical systems with Tom Whitehead. Both of those are going to be back at the Hampton Inn, 6 Hendel Drive. So we hope that you'll be able to join us there. So anyone who needs the info, see Diane's got it. Take a photo. That way you have it for later. All right. Right after lunch, so at 12 o'clock, we will be having Captain Sarah Armour as our presenter on the rebuild of the schooner Brilliant. And all right, with that, do I have a motion to adjourn? All right, do we have a second? All right, all in favor? All opposed? Oh, wait, I thought somebody, okay. All right, and with that, we are drawing to close for the 2026 association meeting. So thank you. Lunch will be out in 1 moment. They're just gonna set it up at the back table. So if you can give everybody a chance to get that out, then we can all eat and relax and network. Thank you. Awesome. I did okay. That's right.